This has been a week, a year filled with change, challenge, of finding new ways to be together, to worship, to praise God, to be community. Our church year culminates today in the celebration of the Feast of Christ the King. This day calls for thanksgiving, of presenting to God our sacrifice, our offering, and expressing our gratitude to the Divine Holy One. As we said in the psalm together, we are called to be joyful, to serve with gladness, to come before God's presence with a song. Formed and shaped in God's image, we belong to God. We are God's people and the sheep of his pasture. Even in these challenging times in which we live, we have much for which to be thankful. We have life, we have creation, we have one another. Here at Good Shepherd, we have an affinity for the image of the Good Shepherd. As I prepared for Mary Lou's funeral this week, I was struck by the imagery and intention of her choices. Good Shepherd, the people, the place, the worship, formed the underlying foundation of love in her life. So what is the essence of Good Shepherd, which is foundational for you? There are so many layers for each of us that it takes reflection and sometimes the loss of the familiar to begin to comprehend what something or someone means. In Ezekiel, the prophet was speaking to an exiled people, a people who had been removed from the familiar and taken to a foreign land, stripped of their temple, ritual, community. The Israelites were struggling under a foreign king. The prophetic word that comes from Ezekiel reminds the people that God is their shepherd who will seek them out, rescue them, feed them, search for the lost and bind up the injured, strengthen the weak and gather them together once again. Yet, as in the recent lessons we've been encountering, there will come a time of judgment between the fat and the lean sheep, those who have pushed the weaker ones and scattered them. We could point fingers at rulers who have pushed and bullied their way into power, yet each one of us will be called to account for our own actions. When Jesus says, "When you fed the hungry, gave water to the thirsty, welcomed the stranger, clothed the naked, or visited the sick or imprisoned, you did it to me." Both groups respond, "Lord, when was it that we saw you hungry and gave you food, or thirsty and gave you something to drink? And when was it that we saw you a stranger and welcomed you, or naked and gave you clothing? And when was it that we saw you sick or in prison and visited you?" And the king will answer them, "Truly I tell you, just as you did it to one of the least of these, who are members of my family, you did it to me." We do not always know when we do or do not do these things. For many of us, these words from Jesus are a call to serve and come to mind as we drive past the person holding the hungry sign at the corner and realize we have no change to offer. Or when we realize we have allowed the busyness of life to inhibit our responding to another's need or taking time to listen. The truth is, serving others is the essence of our mission in life, especially at Good Shepherd. And even though we touch lives, feed the hungry, clothe the naked, offer refreshment to the thirsty, in the end, it is Jesus, the King of glory, who will reveal the truth of our lives and action. Only He truly knows the intent of our hearts, or the subtle moments we do not even recognize as a gift or a healing balm to another. We will all have a moment of life review with Jesus. Throughout life, the thought of a review of all that has been done and left undone, every kindness, compassion, love, and every moment of meanness, envy, or judgment brings us to our knees at God's altar. Kneeling together, we meet the risen Christ, the living bread. It is He who holds us fast, forgives us, feeds and heals us, that we may share what we have received. So live well, love always, and never fail to offer thanksgiving to God for this incredible gift of life you have been given. In doing so, God's glory is revealed through you and through the Church of the Good Shepherd.